principle seems to be, two foci in a string, and the usual way of drawing an ellipse. And I discovered that the size ellipse I wanted to use was this one where the foci were halfway between the edge of the ellipse and the center, and that would be enough out of the circle to actually be clearly an ellipse. If I picked it in third parts, you see the blue line, that would have been a little too close, and the actual pencil is the circle, is the drawing of the circle. So you see the difference between the ellipse and the circle. So I then consulted with a mathematician friend of mine and said, what are the formulas for the relationship between the circumference of an ellipse and its long axis and short axis? And I got silence on the telephone, and then he said in his typical, he was from Auburn, Alabama, and he said in his typical way, actually the mathematics of an ellipse are pretty nasty. So I then realized I was in a little trouble there, but thank goodness for computers and for children who are computer wizards, because my son is does all sorts of three-dimensional computer programs, and he took one look at it and said, oh, that's easy, I can handle that, no problem at all. And he was able to draw all the ellipses, figure out all the dimensions for me, even to the point where in the first circular cyclorama, the stretcher turned out to be the wrong size because I hadn't taken into consideration the thickness of the painting, and the diameter to the edge of the painting is different than the diameter to the stretcher by the width of that painting, and over 90 feet that turns out to be about 3/4 of an inch. So that was a problem. But he was able in his computer program we took some calipers and figured out the width of the canvas, and we got this stretcher absolutely perfect. And you can see I had fun with it. This was the model, which was also computer done, where you do a computer, he does a computer program, not me, he does a computer program. You send it to a computer cutting place, and they cut the ellipse, and that's how the stretcher was eventually done. And then here were the models based on that. You can see in the model I had to dart the canvas in order to get it stretched on the circle, but in the large one, that's not necessary. So these are various views of the model. You can see that it clearly is an ellipse. And this was just show you a view of the first installation in Edinburgh, and the Edinburgh College of Art during the Edinburgh Festival in 2008. And there it was shown in natural light, as you can see. This enormous neoclassical atrium. And it was essentially the same show that you see here, minus the watercolors, but in natural light, which was quite a difference and quite exciting. I think the cycloramas are really designed to be in the halogen artificial light that you see it in, but one of the nice things about halogen light is compared to the old tungsten lights that we used to use in the studio, is that it's closer to daylight. So it actually works in daylight, and this is the installation in the Newberger Museum in Purchase, New York in 2009, similar to what we have here, but you can see not as elegantly done in terms of those walls that Sam has built here, and a whole different set of paintings. It was actually a kind of mini retrospective of paintings that were shown here. And all I can say is that I felt that the solution to the ideas of what I wanted to do, the kind of presentation of an idea that demanded an active viewer, that allowed you to somehow draw out as much information from the environment as possible, to experience the color in a new way. And all of these things felt very, very much part of the the final presentation that I felt very, very happy about that. And I think ultimately it's very much a viewer's painting. It's not so much the construct of an artist as much as it is the construct of the viewer being in it, which is really, to me, the most important part of the experience of painting. So I'll just give you a quick peek at the next e-cyclorama, which is in model form in my studio, and this is just a different color solution. Instead of going from yellow to violet and through gray, it also goes around the hue circle, but at the yellow point it goes to white, at the violet point it goes to black, and then where the gray is here, in this one, it goes to blue-green, a saturated blue-green, and a saturated red-orange. Skipped over it, but you can see the relationship between the two color ideas in these mock-ups that I have in my studio. The bottom one being what you see here, and the top one, the idea for the new one. So, I can only say I hope you enjoyed it, but I hope the exhibition is a lot more than the talk. Questions? Yeah.
So when you're painting the actual painting, do you lay down tape for all the strips of color? Or?
Yeah, I actually have. I stretched the canvas on the wall. Whoops. I lost. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Up to my wall. That's 10 feet by 40 feet, so that I can draw lines anywhere on the wall that I want to. And so I draw the pattern first. I gesso, surface the canvas, and then I draw the pattern, and then I've already got the colors mixed. You saw, I think you see pictures. I try not to be repetitive, but pictures that you might see or information that you get in the catalog or in the exhibition. But you've seen how I mix the 109 colors and do color studies and things like that, and then I take off and do. In the catalog, actually, is a sequence of pictures showing me painting one panel, and it's a lot of tape and it's a lot of time. Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm curious about the shift in floor work. In the original exhibition, it showed a black floor and the paintings resting on the floor, and then the shift to this one here with the gray floor and the raised above.
Okay. Well, actually, maybe that was an illusion of the photograph. They're both a foot off the ground.
Okay.
So I decided to do the stretcher with that kind of shadow line underneath. However, in the first one my idea was to have the color circle kind of sandwiched between a white top and a black bottom. And so the floor, we painted the floor black, and I painted those shadow boards that go underneath also black. And my original plan was to have a scrim going across the top, a white scrim going across the top, but which you may have seen in certain museum exhibitions, those kinds of scrims that are used with the light filtering down through it. However, the curator showed up with such a heavy material that it looked like it was going to be an Arabian tent, so I decided that we'd just skip the scrim. And actually, after I saw it without it, I thought that it was kind of unnecessary. But the first one does have a black floor, and then this one has a gray floor, middle gray, which is very close, if not the same, as the middle gray in paintings.